Welcome back, agents. Secret Agent Stash here. We are at GIA headquarters, and today, agents, we have an interrogation that you guys will not believe. Look, what we have today is a high-value target that we've apprehended, and we're sticking him in the box to get all of the dirty dirt on all of his horse racing secrets today. So this is it. We're going in. Please welcome Ian Cumming to the box.
I'm glad to be here. Or should I be glad? Should I be nervous?
I don't think
so.
so.
Doesn't matter.
No.
Okay. I'm very nervous to be here.
I mean, that's a good thing because, you know, Ian, look, when my agents go out and apprehend a high-value target such as yourself, we need to get information. We need intel. And you know what? They never want to give it to us. But that's okay because I have a feeling that you don't really like your fingernails too much. And if I have to, I'll pull each one. No problem.
Yeah.
So,
no problem.
These will help. How do you feel about that? Do you like your fingernails?
I mean, I'm relatively attached to them. Yeah.
Yeah.
And look at that.
Maybe not after today. But as long as you answer my questions, things will go smoothly. So, look, we know that you are the mastermind behind this horse racing ring they call Photo Finish Live. Tell me a little. I want to hear a little bit about yourself first. How did you get here? With all this crazy illegal activity you got, not illegal activity, but perfectly legal activity you're doing. Tell me all about yourself real quick and how you got to Photo Finish.
Yeah, I mean, I'll try and be quick, but my career in the game industry is pretty long. So I've been in video games for 25 years. I worked on the Madden franchise for 10. So I was the creative director of the Madden franchise and loved my time at EA Sports, but got to the point where I was needing something different, something new. Not as corporate. And so I started my own company in 2015 and really actually wasn't sure what game to make. I knew I wanted to do something with sports, something with betting, something competitive. And I looked around and noticed that there weren't any horse racing games that were any good. I thought, well, I'll try that. And honestly, that's what started. And now it's 10 years later. I've built 3 different horse racing games. Photo Finish Live, the one you're chatting about in Web3 is our third one.
Yep.
I never thought I'd be a horse racing, ringleader, but here I am.
So are you passionate about horse racing? Like outside of the game version of it, were you always like, man, I love horse racing?
I just not at all.
Not at all.
No,
I have never horses. Ever been to the track?
I've never ridden a horse. No, I've never ridden one.
Horse.
And I'd only seen one race in my whole life when I started the company, and that was at like a small track in Kentucky. And so it was a crash course of learning. But that's what, some of that EA Sports stuff that's embedded in me, it's in the game, that authenticity. I just jumped in feet first. I found out that here so I'm in Orlando, but nearby in Ocala is kind of the number 3 city in America for horse raising, breeding, all of that stuff. And so I went over and was, got tours and learned how it all worked and dug in on, how fast they run furlongs and all that stuff. So I just jumped in both feet first, and I actually do enjoy it a lot now. I bet on races all the time. I watch races all the time, and I didn't at all before.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, it's kind of interesting to see that because I would have thought like, hey, this was a passion, something I was already interested in. I pivoted, but you just saw an opening, and you took it to take the lead for the finish.
That's right. Yeah. It was just sort of business opportunity. I literally sorted I went to Google and I looked at sports across the globe, sorted by number of fans. When I start and there's, soccer's number 1. I'm like, I'm not going to make a soccer game. That's too hard. And cricket's number 2. I'm like, I don't even understand how that works.
Yeah.
Then there's NFL, and I'm like, okay, well, I already made Madden. I don't need to do that again. And then right under it's horse racing, and I'm that's weird. So I go look around, and there's really not very any, if any, good games. And I thought, yeah, why not? Go for it.
And I mean, I think that you guys so far have done a really good job. When you look at the game is quality. It's exactly what I think a horse racing enthusiast would kind of want from a game like this, from everything I've seen. And we've seen other crypto-based horse racing games, and they just simply didn't make it, is what it comes down to,
Right.
And they may have had the lead there at the beginning of the race, but here you guys are kind of standing at the finish line and very successful. Official partner of the Kentucky Derby.
That's wild.
To a normie, to a non immersed horse racing guy, secret agent guy. I that's a big thing to me. Is it not?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, I look back on that moment of landing that license. It's like kind of a real pivotal moment for the studio and for me in general. Like, if we had landed that license at EA Sports, it would have been a big deal.
Yeah.
Much less a 10 or 15 person indie game studio. So it's unreal to have landed that, and they've been a great partner. And obviously, I think it just adds so much to the legitimacy of what we're building, that we're real, we are authentic, and we're here to last. We're not extractive. We're not sort of some of the things that you get the negative terminology out of some crypto games.
Mm-hmm.
We are here to build. We're here to build for real, for the long term, and that's why we decided to go after the biggest name in the sport.
Now, when it comes to Photo Finish Live, a distinction I want to make for some people is there's actually 2 games. People don't know this. There's 2. You guys created Photo Finish horse racing game, and that's something you can download on both Apple and Google Play Store. And it's like it's the non-crypto ownership version, kind of, right? But basically the same, and very popular. 4.7 stars on both platforms. Over 10 million plus downloads across. What do you say, 15 almost? Like ridiculous amount. Like, so it's a very successful game in its own right. How do you feel the differences between the people who play that game and love it, which, like I said, a lot of people seem to, and then kind of the crypto enabled version? Do you port them over? Or you just say, hey guys, you guys are playing this, go check out Photo Finish Live because you can make some money.
Right.
I mean, what do you see the connection there between the 2 games?
Yeah, I mean, the mobile game Photo Finish, the original, right, came out 2015, and it's very much an arcade game, right? It's like you are the jockey, or you are actually actively whipping the horse on the way down the track.
Yeah.
It's kind of a drag racing game almost, but with horse racing. And, so that was our first game. We learned a lot on that, and then we actually built the second one. I'm not sure if you've seen. So there's another one called Horse Racing Manager. We built right after that, about 2 years after Photo Finish, and that one was a lot more in breeding, managerial aspects of the game, so not arcade. So we went kind of the other side. And then when Web3 started to really kind of get its legs, and people started, saying, oh, maybe people can actually play games here, it made sense that we try to bring that managerial experience that the manager game had, along with some of the lessons we had learned with the first one, Photo Finish, kind of jump in and play. And that's how Photo Finish Live became. It's just sort of this natural running ecosystem that can kind of last forever. And, how do we move people over? Like, we've actually just been recently doing a lot of that. So we're trying to get ads, cross promo type ads and stuff, so that people, once they kind of get to the end of those other games, or they feel like they've done well enough, we're always trying to say, hey, well, would you like to play for real money?
Yeah.
As long as you're in a legal locale, step it up. It's time to come and play for the big dogs.
Where's it legal? Where can we not do it?
A lot of places. I mean, we try to be very above board. I mean, it's considered a skill-based game. Yeah. You mentioned, Google, for example. Google doesn't publish skill-based games still, which is wild. Like FanDuel Face Off, for example, is a good example of a game that skills, those you can play on Apple, but you cannot play on Google Play. We're in the same boat there. But a big part of our growth plan is getting licensed in territories one by one, so that we can unlock Android. But we fall under a skill-based game category. So it's basically about 35 U.S. states that you can play the game normally, and then a few other countries that have much more lax skill-based gaming laws. Sure. But yeah, every day it's about really trying to expand and find new territories, because there's so much growth opportunity in Japan or Hong Kong or all these places that are huge horse racing markets. We just have to be licensed appropriately.
And that's great that you guys are taking that legit legal route. I think that a lot of companies in Web3 would just I'm just going to throw some pickles at the freaking window. Are they going to stick? How you like them pickles? I don't know, but maybe regulation, who knows, and there's all these kinds of concerns that I think we have in general because of this. And, it's great to see that you guys are taking it exactly like you should. I think it's important for longevity. So you guys are already in a good place right there.
That's exactly the point. It's it may feel slower, and the crypto space, of course, requires fast. They want the eyeballs, and that can be a lot sometimes. But it's just sort of like we're not in the business of having to try and have something run up in 3 months. It's this game, the way it's designed, can last forever. Grandkids could send their horses to their children. It's like it can work that way, and so we're just in no we are in a rush to make sure that we do these things, but we're not going to rush it. We're not going to do something illegal.
You ask any business owner, entrepreneur, and steady growth is what you want. You like having a crazy it's hard to manage anyways. Like you want good, steady growth over time. That's what every I think a business really wants, and I think is best. You know, when it comes to this game, obviously you can win money, right? If you have like that amazing horse. And he's going to the majors. He's going to be in the virtual Kentucky Derby this weekend, maybe. And there's big prize purses for this, right? So with this virtual Kentucky Derby, what's the big prize purse? How much is the top placing horse? How much does he get?
Yeah, so a lot of the majors are 10 grand and no entry fee. So there's kind of
no entry fee
roll.
Yeah.
And so you're often, just like the real Kentucky Derby, you're kind of on a road to the Derby. You have to qualify. You've got a series of points on the way there, much like a NASCAR series, of course, again, just like the road to the Derby. And so you get a lot of competition on the way in. And then, of course, it's a 20-horse field. It's very difficult to win. But if you do win, it's so funny to see how it's just like the real sport. So the real sport, if you win the Kentucky Derby, for example, big deal, right?
Yeah.
And I think your purse is maybe $3 million if you win. Real, and what you'll make in breeding is usually about 100 times that.
Wow, yeah, because that's a winning horse. It's a winning thoroughbred.
Right. And that's what's been so wild to see is we've seen these horses that are producing Derby winners as stallions, virtual stallions, and they're selling their breeding rights. And so now some of these horses that have won or they came in the top 3 in the Derby, they've made $150,000, $200,000 of selling their virtual semen, if you want to call it that, their breeding fees. It's just crazy, but that's how it's working.
The horse juice all over me, man. Let's go.
It's so horrible, but it's real.
Anything in crypto, man. This is what I love about. This I love about this industry. You can monetize anything.
Tokenize that.
Tokenize.
It needs to be a token.
Yeah. Well, we got tokens. We got crown. We got Derby, right? I mean, here you can stake your crown, and there's cool things that you can do besides, like I said, just racing. There's all these aspects that really take you beyond just it's just your horse has stats, and it kind of runs it based upon those stats. It's auto battler in a way, kind of But there's lots of things you can do, like you said, the breeding for the horses. And then there's also track. You can actually stake crown, right, to be able to own parts of a track and get residuals when people are racing on those tracks too, which I think is really interesting too. So a lot of extra things there.
Yeah, it's a very deep game, and sometimes we struggle with what is this game, because it is a lot of things for everyone. But I think it's really just it's a deep layered experience. If you want to get a horse and race it, it's pretty simple. It's tough to pick a winner. It's tough to find what scope you want to race at, what budget you have. That can be somewhat difficult, but once you're in, I mean, horse pilled, as we call it. I mean, there are infinite number of things to do. Owning a track is a very interesting sort of passive play, but also fun to join a community of, we could have the Stache track for a month and everyone's racing there. And so then you're streaming, trying to get people to race because you're earning out of the fees. I mean, it's a pretty crazy ecosystem. And a lot of that is because we did start 10 years ago. A lot of this has carried forward. The ideas from the original mobile games,
established brand.
All of it has come in. So, there were a lot of doubters when we came out and saying, "Oh, these guys are way behind Zed Run. Zed Run will, destroy these guys." And I was like, "Well, actually, we've got a pretty big head start on Zed Run. No one knows, but we've been making horse racing games for a lot longer." So anyway,
I
like the Zed guys.
Right. No, and it shows. I was when Zed Run came out. I owned a horse, and then it's not. It's
me too.
Nothing. Yeah, that's where it but that's okay. And something you talked about here is like, the money, the investment here. Something I looked at. The horse is going for around $2,000 to $3,000, right? Real horse
for top tier.
Top tier. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, for top tier. For a top tier real horse, if you want to get in real horse racing, $100,000 to $300,000. So
you have to pay to take care of it.
And you got to feed the damn thing. You got to stable it. Someone's got to brush the damn thing every damn day.
Yeah,
I'm thinking every damn day, right? He's a thoroughbred. You got to brush them.
No, you're right. I have a share of a real horse. I bought one when we started this game because I wanted to know what's it like.
Right.
What is the real managerial?
To feel good.
And he's been hurt for over a year, and I get bills every month from a chiropractor, vitamins.
Vitamin guy.
It's unbelievable, dude. A chiropractor bill, every month a transporter, like a guy that just moves them from place to place.
Yeah.
So none of that. You have none of that you have to worry about in Photo Finish Live. You can own the horse without any of the care fees.
Yeah. And I mean, like and like I said, you're paying. Sometimes you're paying small fees in like the native currency Derby, right? And then you also win Derby as well, right? When you win, essentially. So and that's kind of the platform transactional currency, and then Crown is used more for like a staking kind of currency, right? So to be able to get access to some of these things like tracks like that. So.
Yeah, so you can play the game entirely in the virtual currency, which is Derby. Yeah. So it's not even on chain. It's like you're using V-Bucks or Robux or whatever. Yeah. And Crown, on the other hand, is freely traded. It's out there on the market. Who knows what's going on? But you are using that to be a track if you want to. But you can play the game entirely with Derby and.
No, so with this kind of ecosystem, do you feel like it's attracting people outside of crypto, like native, like are these people who just love horse racing, like, oh, I like betting on horses, this is a kind of a cool virtual thing, maybe they go to their local track, or maybe they're like in Vegas or something, like what, like do you feel like it attracts mostly people outside of crypto, or is it mostly crypto natives playing it?
Well, we definitely built, our starting community was heavy Web3. It was a lot of folks that got in on the early NFT mint, heard about us through Soul Big Brain, and there was a lot of that. And so we've built a really strong and passionate, loyal community from within Web3. But our growth path has always been, I don't want to say normies, but it's really sports bettors, daily fantasy fans, people that have no idea how crypto works. And we've had quite a few players come in that way.
Non-crypto degens.
Oh yeah. And then sometimes they get, crypto pilled.
Yeah.
Like, what's Crown? And then now all of a sudden they're trading, they're on Pump Fund before you know it. So
yeah, exactly. And they make 10 million meme coins a week. So
yeah. They got Trump early and then they're out.
Yeah.
No, I think the exciting part there is that it doesn't require any crypto knowledge to play.
Yeah.
That was a tough sort of setup at the beginning. That's how I think we got listed on Apple. It wasn't like wallet required and all these, things to happen first, but it's really about, you don't have to be a horse racing fan. Of course that helps, but really you've got to be into like strategy, real money, sports betting, daily fantasy, poker. Those are the types of players that really seem to resonate with. And that's what most of our top players are usually, that's what they're into.
Yeah. That totally makes sense. Something I was thinking about here, I'm sure have you been to Vegas? You've been to Vegas, you go to like, and there's these, now they have these really big, like mechanical horse racing tracks so you can sit around.
Fortune Cup.
Yeah. Fortune Cup. That's it. How do we tie like a photo finish game into something like that where people are betting on your horses that you actually own? Maybe it's holographic and you can project your horse up and like, instead of it being like a little mechanical dude that like, wouldn't it be cool? Like, is that on deck? Are we working on that? Is that something?
Yeah. So when the holographs, but we'll get to that, right? But why not? Apple Vision Pro and all those things. But I think the exciting part of where Photo Finish Live specifically is, we've spent multiple years getting this platform to what it is. It is now kind of the foremost premier virtual racing game in the world, and it's amazing. It's obviously the depth, these things that we laugh about, the breeding, the long-term meta of this game is so strong, and there are races going off in the game every 5 minutes. Yeah. So we've gotten to that point. Now, of course, there's always things we're going to improve in the game itself. We are game devs, so that will always be the thing. But really, this year is about making that virtual racing feed a bettable product for the rest of the world to bet on. And if you go to Australia, you go to the UK, a lot of other countries, virtual racing is very big, hundreds of millions of dollars each year, and it's kind of crap. It's a slot machine. It's bad visuals.
Right.
It's not very fun.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, it sucks, man.
And Fortune Cup in the Vegas,
is the coolest looking one, and
that's the best one.
It's the best one, right? Yeah. So and even that, it can be improved for sure.
Oh yeah. So our plan is really kind of democratize and bring our product out so that anyone can wager on these races anywhere via crypto. Part of that is a Roku app. It's published live on the Roku store, so you can watch these races. And then in the next quarter or two is when people will be able to bet on these races in a fully decentralized way. Pools shared across all of the entire globe. I think that's going to be really exciting because again we've got this engine of races and content that's just churning out very bettable, fun things. They aren't slot machines. Like you can look at the race and you can see all these things that we were talking about. Oh,
Yeah.
That horse bred that horse, and then that one, they have a history, they have bloodlines, and that it never happens in any virtual product. You're usually like, I want to pick the 4. So
right, and the cool thing about too is that something that we see, is provable transparency and fairness in these types of products in gambling or gaming, right? You'd be able to prove like this data is legit. We didn't manipulate this. Like you can see here, it is on the blockchain. Boom. And I think that's important.
We use it is
transparency in betting.
Absolutely, like to be able to see where the bets came in. One of the biggest gripes about real horse racing is now computers and algorithms will place bets at the last second, and they'll shift odds dramatically.
Right.
And so like that type of thing will be able to be proven and seen on our pools. Now roll that out, that you would know like, oh, okay, well, what's going on? Like, was this a scam? Did the house have it inside it? No, it's all right here. You can see every single thing about it. So yeah, I'm super excited to what that push. We're calling it simulcast, but that product now of being able to have this on in a sports bar, it's your local bar having races running. Now you as a bar owner are getting a little slice of the racing betting that's happening at your place. It's just super exciting to kind of democratize that and do what Web3 is supposed to do. Really, like everybody can get a piece of it. It can go everywhere. It's decentralized.
Yeah, I love it. I mean, it sounds like the future for Photo Finish Live here and the Photo Finish dynasty of games is actually pretty bright. I mean, from everything I've heard, I love that direction, and that, to me, that makes the most sense, going there and be able to expand this product to all of those locations where you give the exposure of this data to people to be able to speculate and bet on and enjoy it in a way that's more accessible than having to go directly to the track or maybe just watching it on TV, which is not bad, but you get a little piece of the action, which I think is a lot of fun. So
24/7, 365, everywhere in the world,
anywhere you're at. So wow, Ian, thanks so much for joining us here. Before we go, is there any last little bit of tidbit of intel you want to give us here? I'm glad you answered all my questions. I didn't have to pull any fingernails today, which is great. But before we go, you got anything left that you want to leave us with?
I mean, I guess the thing that we're super excited with, of course, is the Kentucky Derby. Every year is such a great event for us. So that's the first week in May. Everyone hopefully can keep an eye on our socials as we kind of build towards this. But we're looking at some really custom special events there with Churchill Downs, with our partner Baxus, who does really high-end bourbons and stuff that will have photo finish bourbon branding and all kinds of trips. Yeah, so a lot of a lot of exciting stuff as we build towards the Derby, new features, as well as the rollout of the betting platform, simulcast platform. So super exciting year all around. And obviously, I think a lot of things will be leaking out as we get into April. So that's the time to really tune in and get ready.
There you go. Well, now we've prepped agents. We've got all the intel we need to be able to capitalize on the amazing developments that we're going to see here with Photo Finish. Thank you so much for joining us here, Ian, even though you didn't have much of a choice. I appreciate it. Thanks for answering all our questions. I think that's all we have for today, agents. As always, this briefing never happened. Secret Agent Stash, over and out.
Secret Agent Stash. Secret Agent Stash.